Edible Plants Part 4. The numbers are the ending times. Ephedra, or Mormon Tea, is an unusual shrub. It looks rather like horsetails. It is used to brew a tea. The seeds are also edible. You take a small handful of branches and just boil it in about a cup of water. The drug ephedrine comes from a Chinese species of the plant. Not all native species contain that compound. Ephedrine is the source for making methamphetamine. They basically need to reduce the compound. That is a huge illegal industry in the United States and throughout the world. Ephedra was banned by the FDA when many people died. It reduces your sweating, and some people died from heat stroke. It also has bad interactions with other drugs. The Chinese have used ephedra medicinally for over 5,000 years. Fireweed is a good example of a pioneer species. It grows quickly in disturbed areas. The young shoots of the plant are best eaten. They can be eaten either raw or cooked. The roots are also edible. A tea known as Kapoor tea in Europe is brewed from the leaves. The flower stalks can be added to salad. The shoots and young stems are peeled and then steamed as a substitute for asparagus. Apparently they get a little bitter when they get older. The same goes for the roots. Horsetails are an ancient family of plants. They reproduce by spores. They usually live in wet places. The inner pulp of the stem is edible. It needs to be peeled because the outside is very high in silicates. It also needs to be cooked because it's toxic raw. There are black nodules or rhizomes attached to the roots that are edible. They also need to be cooked. The high amount of silicates makes it a good scouring pad. Yerba Santa, or sacred herb in Spanish, is used as a condiment or a tea. The leaves are chewed for their refreshing taste and to relieve thirst. An aromatic sweet tea is made from the fresh or dried leaves. Yerba Santa is an evergreen aromatic shrub with woody rhizomes. It is often cultivated as an ornamental shrub. The plant is native from Oregon down to Mexico. The leaves are sticky from waxy resins. Young storkbill Filaree can be eaten cooked or raw. They taste better if they're picked young. The flavor is similar to sharp parsley. The young leaves can be added to salads, sandwiches, or as an ingredient to soup or something like that. The roots are very sweet and they can be chewed like gum. The seeds have little feathery parachutes attached to them so they float through the air. The plants are usually found in warmer areas. It is a native to the Mediterranean. The bulbs of fawn lilies were only occasionally used by Native Americans. They are usually buried very deeply, so it's hard to dig them out. They can be eaten either raw or boiled, and the leaves can be also eaten. The leaves can sometimes cause a burning sensation. The bulbs become sweeter if they're cooked for a very long time. Some tribes also cook the green seed pods. Mostly they just ate the corms. False mermaid is a tiny flower. It's native to many parts of North America. It likes moist areas such as shady forests. The main use of the plant is raw in salads. The foliage is hairless and it's shiny. 2 to 3 fruits grow in the center of the little flowers. I noticed fennel in our grocery store this morning. It's a very common plant. Older leaves become a little bit tough, so it's better to get them when they're young. They can be eaten either raw or cooked. The roots are something like a parsnip. Some people make a tea out of the leaves. Green seeds are the best for cooking. You probably should exercise some care because it does slightly resemble a hemlock plant, so make sure you know what it looks like before you eat it. Octillo are common in the desert southwest. The seeds are edible parched. The main part that's edible is the flowers. Some native tribes made a drink out of it. They just soaked the flowers in water. One tribe would collect all the flowers and get the nectar and dry it into a hard candy. Elkweed or gentian have a very large taproot. It is edible raw, roasted, or boiled. You should be careful though. Some closely related plants are somewhat toxic. It's also probably wise to not eat too much of it. The roots were ground into a powder and used to kill lice. It does sound potentially toxic in high amounts. The plants often grow by themselves and they're very large, sometimes taller than a man. The edible parts of Fritillary or mission bells are the roots or the seed pods. The bulb can be eaten raw or cooked. It can be dried for later use. When cooked, it is said to taste like a chestnut. Some people say they taste a little bit bitter. The best tasting plants are reported to come from close to the shore. The bulbs are occasionally dried and ground into flour. Many fritillaries contain poisonous alkaloids. Bed straw is edible either raw or cooked. A yellow dye from the flowering stems is used as a food coloring. You can make a coffee substitute from the parched seeds. The seeds are also edible. The chopped plants can also be used to curdle milk, so it can be used to make cheese. The plant got its name because it was a very nice smelling soft material that you could use to fill up a mattress. The plant is covered with small hooks and it makes it stick to you. Therefore, it's not really edible raw. Salal is a small evergreen shrub native to the Pacific coast of North America. Both the dark blue berries and young leaves are both edible. Salal is a very sweet and good tasting berry. A purple dye is made from the fruit. The berries are usually produced for several weeks in the late summer. Salal prefers a moist but not boggy environment. It also likes the shade of trees. The edible seeds of Manna Grass are very small. They're very good quality though. They're very good for adding to soup or something like that. You could also make them into a flour. The plant isn't particularly productive because the seeds are rather small though. Manna Grass is commonly found in wet areas. The plant grows along the ground and it may have roots in several different places. Some Manna Grass are considered to be weeds while others are endangered in their native habitats. Manna Grass are widespread in wet areas in temperate regions around the world. Licorice is a legume. The edible part of licorice is the roots. They sometimes get very large. The plant has long been cultivated in China. It is a very common ingredient to many mixtures of medicines. It has a very sweet taste. It also has a slight taste of licorice. The reason the root is very sweet is because it contains a compound called glycyrrhizin. That compound is 50 times sweeter than sugar. Carveseed has edible leaves. It resembles dandelions in the way it forms a basal rosette. It's also similar in size. A distinctive feature of the plant is a white outline around the sharply toothed leaves. There's not much written about this plant except that it was eaten by some Native Americans. There's a closely related plant called the holy dandelion. Sometimes it's considered the same species. Rein orchids have edible roots. The leaves are poisonous though. The roots are said to taste something like potatoes. The flowers are very fragrant. The flowers grow on a dense spike. They are usually found in wet ground, often in bogs. The plants sometimes get up to about 3 feet tall. Sunflowers are a very widely cultivated plant. I remember fields of them in South Dakota stretching to the horizon. Wild sunflowers also have edible seeds. The seeds are very rich in protein. They're also rich in oil. Some commercial varieties are up to 50% oil. That oil is also very healthful. Cow-Parsnip roots are edible when cooked. You need to exercise caution. The plant resembles hemlock. Young stems can also be peeled and eaten. Many people are sensitive to the compounds in cow-parsnip, and they can develop photosensitivity. It would probably be wise to wear protection when picking the plants. The leaves can be cooked as greens. Burnt leaves can be used as a salt substitute. The bulbs of desert lilies can be roasted or boiled. The plant is also known as ajo lilies because they taste like garlic, and ajo is Spanish for garlic. The plants are probably too pretty to eat, but this is just for informational purposes. Toyon, or Christmas berries, are very common here in Southern California. They are members of the rose family, related to apples. Like apples, they also contain cyanogen compounds. They are dangerous to eat raw, especially the seeds. It is often grown as an ornamental because of the bright red berries. The berries stay on the plant throughout the whole winter. That's the end of part 4.